Hey guys, how are you doing? All right, guys, I'm excited to get on tonight and share something that can really be an absolute game changer. Okay, so I want to welcome you guys to this live. If you wouldn't mind, as you guys tune into this live, please let me know where you guys are tuning in from. Okay, and I'm going to be talking about a really important topic. Okay, it's called insulin resistance, or metabolic health or metabolic syndrome. Okay. So if you are struggling with your health right now, okay, this information could change your life. And if there's somebody that you love and care about that needs to hear this, feel free to share this live with them so that they can hop on, they can listen, okay, they can ask questions. Um, but I really love sharing this information with people because, oh, I need something. Um, because most people are not familiar with resistance at all. Okay? Believe it or not, but this is something that affects 93% of people. Okay. 93% of people have insulin resistance. And folks, I'm talking to as many people as I can about blood sugar problems, insulin problems, things like type 2 diabetes and a laundry list of things. And it's crazy to think that 9 out of 10 people have this. And believe it or not, most people, they don't even know that they have it. Eve25302, let me know if you have any questions. So I want you guys to be thinking about your own health as I talk about and as I share some things. Okay? I'm talking to as many people as I can about the blood sugar problems, the high insulin problems that people are dealing with, things like neuropathy, type 2 diabetes, okay, energy, weight. And I want you guys to look at this, okay? As you look at this, okay, and Zenbot, thank you so much for being on, okay? Let me ask you guys a question, okay? When you look at this list, okay, do you resonate with anything that's on here? As you look at this, is there anything on here that you resonate with, that you might be struggling with, or maybe there's some family members that are struggling, right? Okay, Zenbot says all of it. Okay, resonate. So the crazy thing is that 93% of American adults are metabolically unhealthy, right? 9 out of 10 people have it, and they don't know that they have it. Now, as you guys tune into this live, okay, please let me know where you guys are tuning in from. I'm always curious as to where people are located around the world. I'm here in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm grateful to be home. I was just in Provo this weekend. But I'm really excited to get on here to talk about something that I've become very passionate about. Okay. You think we should still be trying to solve this individually? Got to be a widespread change at this point. Well, Beef, this is one of the reasons why I continue to get on here and share it. The truth is that you're going to start seeing a lot more people talk about this. Okay. And I appreciate that, Beef. Thank you. Frank, Connecticut. I love it. I'm here in Arizona. It's starting to get warm. Okay. It's weird because Arizona, we did not have a winter at all. It's actually been pretty warm. And it's supposed to be over 100 degrees this week. So Zenbot, how long have you been on that? And I'm curious as to what you're taking that for. Okay. It snowed here today. That's crazy. So, as Solomon said in the Bible, okay, in all you're gaining, gain understanding. When you understand insulin resistance, everything changes. When you understand and we can start connecting the dots, everything changed. Okay. And understanding insulin resistance is something that changed my life. Okay. Now, Zedbot, thank you for sharing that, right? 54% of people are considered type 2 diabetic or pre-diabetic. 3 out of 4 Americans are overweight or obese. Okay. 20% more adolescents today are dealing with diabetes than they were 10 years ago. Now, when you look at this list, it's really easy to be like, you know what? I've got constant fatigue. I was tired all the time. Okay. I had migraines for 23 years. I had brain fog. I had sleep apnea. I had weight that I couldn't lose. Right. And so you start to think, oh my gosh, how many of the things do we struggle with every single day? And one of the reasons why this is a constant problem with us and humans in general is because this is what's happening inside of our body. Okay, I think it's important for us to identify what is really going on. Okay, when you and I eat food, okay, especially sugar and especially carbs, what happens is it causes your blood sugar to go through the roof. Okay, if you can see this, when your insulin is high, ladies and gentlemen, your body is literally storing energy. It is storing FAT. Okay. How many of you have excess weight that you would love to get rid of? How many of you probably are gaining weight for no reason at all? And so the crazy thing is that there's so many people that are affected with these health issues. And here's the deal, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. If you want to make a big impact in business or in life, you need to solve a major problem. And right now, insulin resistance happens to be the biggest health issue out there. Now, I love teaching this because this is something that's very personal to me. My dad passed away early. In fact, my dad passed away on April 16th of 2017. That was Easter Sunday in 2017. My brother was 33 years old when he passed away 21 years ago. My mom, who's dealing with Alzheimer's and dementia, she's living in a memory care facility. Folks, this affected my own personal family. Some of you know my story and some of you don't, but I donated a kidney to my sister's husband back in November of 2014. And I'm super grateful for that. I'm honored that I was able to do that. But it was 7 years later in 2021 when I was diagnosed with stage 4 kidney disease. My doctor said, Troy, if you don't lose weight, if you don't change your diet, you're going to end up on dialysis or worse. I didn't know what insulin resistance was. Nobody ever explained it to me. Nobody ever talked about it. Folks, I was given medication for diabetics and for weight loss. And I want to tell you, nobody in my family has ever been diabetic. And what I can tell you is it just didn't work for me. It was making me sick. So I had to stop taking it. And folks, it was 2.5 years later, okay, when I learned about something very simple, something that was safe, that was clinically proven. It is something that doctors are starting to talk about because, by the way, it is listed in the physician's desk reference, and it's called the Feel Great system. What did I do with it? It's called the Feel Great system, okay? I have it listed here in the TikTok shop if you want to check it out. But it is 2 simple products. It is a yerba mate tea. It's called Unimate. Okay, sorry, backwards. Okay. And there's a fiber here called Balance that was literally created by Rexall Drugs. Now, I don't know if any of you remember this drugstore. Okay, this drugstore used to be the biggest drugstore in the world. Okay, some of you may have even had family members or cousins or aunts and uncles that used to work for Rexall. Maybe you walked into the Rexall Drugs, right? That was your local pharmacy. And these doctors and scientists created a blend of fiber that is unlike any fiber that's out there. In fact, they said it was going to change the world. Okay. It's a blend of 7 soluble and insoluble fibers. And when you have these two to come together, it creates a protective barrier inside your stomach. Now, there's 2 reasons why they created this. Okay. The first one is we need fiber. If you look at the modern diet today, folks, there's a reason why the majority of us have health issues, because the modern diet is what causes our high blood sugar. It's what causes our high insulin. And so when you think about this, okay, if your insulin is elevated all of the time, your body is literally storing energy. It is storing FAT. When insulin levels are low, guess what happens? Okay, your body literally has the ability to start burning the stored energy. It's starting to get rid of that excess belly fat and the love handles and everything else. But 93% of people, folks, are dealing with one or more of these issues. And as you look at this, if you wouldn't mind, type 1 or 2 words in the chat of what your struggle is. I'm curious to know what other people might be experiencing, because first and foremost, you're not alone. Okay. There's a lot of people, unfortunately, in this boat. And we're going to talk about, number 1, what's causing this, and number 2, what we can do to start improving it. The reason why these health issues exist is because of this, right? We've got constant elevated blood sugar and insulin spikes. Okay. Folks, if you've never heard of insulin resistance, I encourage you to Google it, research it, because this is going to be a hot health topic for years to come. So why are we all struggling with this? And I want you to think about your own health as I talk about this. Are you dealing with constant fatigue? Are you carrying extra weight that no matter what you do, you just can't seem to lose no matter what? Do you have migraines like I did? I had it for 23 years. What about cravings? How many of you are craving food, especially late at night? How many of you have high blood pressure? High cholesterol? What about fertility problems? Or maybe things like psoriasis or eczema or adult acne or kidney stones, or, right? Zenbot says me, okay? Angelique says, and Angelique, I have an 89-year-old customer that is using this, and he said that he has tried everything. Sometimes he actually comes on this live, and I love it. He's 89 years old. He's been around a long time, and I would imagine that he probably has tried a lot of things, right? Now, what if what you're feeling, ladies and gentlemen, isn't just aging, okay? What if it's something way deeper? Something that's been, silently building for years, maybe even decades. And what I do is I help people find real answers to the problems that we're having, okay? So here is the biggest problem. And I talk to as many people every single day about blood sugar problems and insulin and type 2 diabetes and a lot of other things, right, that people have. Polytalk, right? He had high blood pressure and dealt with constant headaches. I had migraines for 23 years. And it was interesting because I personally had donated one of my kidneys to my brother-in-law. And my migraines were so bad, ladies and gentlemen, that my doctor would give me, Toradol, right? And if you know anything about that, it affects your kidney. And I have one kidney. So I'm very careful about what it is that I put in my body. And so I want you guys to understand something, that if insulin resistance is, maybe this is the first time that you're ever hearing that term or that word, but it is behind everything from brain fog to fatigue to nerve pain. It is behind the stubborn weight that no matter what it is that we do, we just can't seem to get rid of that. And Zenbot, I appreciate that. I'm grateful for that. It gave my brother-in-law his life back. My sister and my brother-in-law, they have 6 kids, and I'm very grateful, right? Life is too short. I want you guys to understand something, that if you have these health issues, okay, any one of these, okay, including diabetes, folks, insulin resistance can lead and it can turn into diabetes. Then it goes into neuropathy. Then it goes into nerve damage. They can leave you in pain and unable to walk, and can even potentially lead to amputations. Here's the truth behind insulin resistance. Not only is it preventable, okay, you can fix it. Your body has the ability to heal itself. Our body has been whispering for years, but sometimes nobody's listening to it, okay? And so some of you might be asking, well, what is insulin resistance, right? Here's the deal. Every time you and I eat, okay, what happens is it spikes our blood sugar, and insulin, right? Insulin is the gatekeeper to our cells. I want you to think of insulin like a key. We need a key to get into our house, right? Well, I want you to think of your cells in your body as the lock. The key goes into the lock, right? So here's what happens, okay? When you and I eat, it spikes our blood sugar. And our blood sugar goes up, and our pancreas releases a hormone called insulin. Insulin's job is to help grab that glucose out of our bloodstream, and it will deliver that to our cells, where our body will literally use that for energy, okay? And so what happens, though, is when we flood our body with too much sugar and processed foods, your cells at some point will stop listening to insulin. And when that happens, it creates a lot of damage, right? Remember this, when insulin is elevated, and for most of it's elevated all day long, your body is not only just storing FAT, but it is causing damage inside of our body, inside of our nerves, okay? And our cells will stop listening. They become resistant. And now, instead of fueling your body, that sugar gets stored as fat and causes inflammation. Suzanne, NYDK, Victory, thank you for being on this live. Now, this is what happens when we eat. Here is the exact reason why I talk about the Feel Great system and why I use it. Now, I'm not here to convince any one of you to use it. There are 2 simple things that I teach people every single day that cost you nothing. Fasting is one of them. I'm going to talk more about that. Okay. Fiber is the other one that I'm going to talk about. But the reason why I talk about this is because this is how and what happens. Okay. We know that when we eat all the time, we're constantly keeping our blood sugar and our insulin elevated. Okay. Gifting suspended. Reason limited interaction. How am I giving? What? How am I don't get that. Okay. Sailing Camelot. I am not exactly sure as to that question. It's not appropriate, so goodbye. But when you're sipping on this, okay, what it does is it literally shuts the food noise off. Now, for me, I needed that. Okay, I needed that for a reason, because I'm somebody that loves to eat. Okay. And so, and folks, if you're getting value in what it is that I'm talking about, if you wouldn't mind, please tap the screen. Okay. Send those hearts. Feel free to share this or repost this. Okay. When you tap the screen, you're literally sharing this with people that are needing this information. Okay. Now, like I said, I talk to as many people as I possibly can about the blood sugar problems and the insulin problems that people have. Now, we know that 9 out of 10 people have these issues. And the reason for that is because of this. This is what happens when you and I eat all day long. Now, when I sip this first thing in the morning, okay, whenever I'm not eating, what it's doing is it's allowing and keeping your blood sugar and your insulin in normal ranges, right? It's keeping it stable, okay? When your blood sugar and your insulin are in normal ranges, what happens is that keeps your body in a healing state. When you are in a healing state, this is when your cells can repair itself. This is when your body literally starts, your body has two fuel sources, okay? You're either burning food for fuel or you're burning your love handles for fuel. Does that make sense? Okay. If insulin is high, we are storing the love handles, we're storing the belly, right? But when insulin is low, this is when your body it literally starts eating away at the love handles. It starts eating away at this. And this is one of the reasons why I talk about this every single day, because, you know, we have a solution to a very big problem and nobody knows about it. And these health issues, right? And I'm going to name off just a few, okay? We've got diabetes. We know that diabetes is a big deal. 54% of our country has it. How many of you have brain fog? How many of you seriously walk into a room and you've forgotten why you walked into that room? How many of you have, how many women specifically have PCOS? Right? Polycystic ovarian syndrome. It's the leading cause of infertility for women. What about erectile dysfunction and low testosterone? And no, gentlemen, I'm not talking about men in their 60s. I'm talking about guys in their 20s. What about inflammation? You guys realize that inflammation is one of the root causes of insulin resistance? And by the way, anything that ends in itis, and Pretty Marie, let me know if you have any questions, but anything that ends in itis, okay, is caused by inflammation. How many of you have skin tags, eczema, psoriasis? How many of you have belly fat? How many of you have constant fatigue? You're constantly tired all the time, okay? High blood pressure, okay? Now, Dabo Karash, I don't know if I pronounced that, okay? This is made from plants and food. It does not have to be FDA regulated, but what I can tell you is that it is clinically proven. It is made in facilities that are FDA regulated, okay? There are more than 50 clinical studies. It is third-party tested, okay? Some of these institutions are like Stanford University in California. You've got the University of Sydney in Australia, okay? They are the blood sugar experts of the world. They created the glycemic index or the glycemic load, if you've ever heard of that, okay? What about the Cleveland Clinic? The Cleveland Clinic in Ohio happens to be the #1 heart hospital in the world. Folks, the Cleveland Clinic took 119 hyperlipidemia patients. They gave half this fiber and they gave the other half a placebo, okay? And they said at the concluding of their statement that if people were to use this on a regular basis, it would decrease cardiovascular disease on a population basis. Folks, heart disease is the leading cause of death worldwide. Now, how many of you are familiar with UNLV in Las Vegas? Or how many of you are familiar with BYU, right? Brigham Young University in Provo, Utah? How many of you are familiar with the PDR? Okay. PDR listed. Okay. The PDR is what is described as the physician's desk reference or the prescriber's digital reference, right? But that's what doctors use when they're researching and prescribing meds. Folks, the reality is that we are helping people to understand, first and foremost, what's going on inside of your body. Because when you understand, you can connect the dots. And when you connect the dots, you can literally start finding real solutions to a problem. The unfortunate thing is that far too often we are throwing medications at our symptoms, but they do not fix the root cause. So when I think about this, right, when I think about my own family members that struggled with a bunch of these, myself included, you realize that every single one of these things are all caused by one thing. And yet, we can be prescribed a different medication for every single symptom. This is caused by high blood sugar spikes and high insulin spikes. And what I love about the Feel Great system that's listed here in the TikTok shop is that when you use this, it helps to limit the blood sugar and the insulin spikes, right? When I sip on this, it literally it's like a light switch. It shuts the food noise off, okay? For any of you that are on these GLP-1s, that's what it does. It shuts the food noise off. That's why people take it. This happens to do that and increase your body's own production of it by 70%, which is crazy, naturally. And what it does is it helps to keep your blood sugar and your insulin in normal ranges. Now, remember what I said, when your body, when these levels are in normal ranges, what happens? Okay, our body, instead of storing energy, it starts to burn it. Okay, and Angelique, I get it. I was on one. Okay, when I was diagnosed with stage 4 kidney disease, I was on one. It made me sick every single time I took it. I had to stop taking it. I sip on this. If you're ever around me, I don't go anywhere without this. I love the taste. I love what has done. It's an absolute game changer. Now, you know, Polytalk says it helped my 65-year-old mom who was pre-diabetic and had high HDL. In just 90 days, was able to improve that. That's what's amazing. And the reality, Angelique, is a lot of those have a lot of side effects, right? Unfortunately, there's a lot of contraindications too. This is one of the reasons why people are put on a bunch of meds, and sometimes they're put on other meds because they're having an allergic reaction, right? They're having a bad side effect. And so they've got to be on another one, right? That's my mother. She's 85 years old. She lives in a memory care facility. She's got what is now considered as type 3 diabetes, which is Alzheimer's and dementia. And ladies and gentlemen, if that runs in your family, please pay attention to that one. That is not one thing that I would ever wish upon anyone. And Angelique, I'm really grateful and honored that you're on this live. And here's what I would tell you, okay? This is how this works, okay? When you sip on this first thing in the morning, okay, it keeps your body in burning mode. Okay, your body is literally getting rid of old, dead, tired, unhealthy cells. It is utilizing the stored energy inside of your body, and it's using that as fuel. That's a good thing, because when that happens, that means your insulin levels are low and inflammation is coming down. Okay, so you sip on this all morning whenever you're not eating. And then at lunchtime, you're just going to eat lunch. If you're hungry, eat lunch. Okay, folks, if you're not hungry, you don't have to eat. Okay. So if you're hungry, you're just going to eat lunch as normal. And then you're going to have the second one. Okay, you're going to get 2 of these yellow packets, which is what you sip on. And you sip on the second one in the afternoon. What it does is it helps, number one, it helps to blunt the glucose spikes and the insulin spikes from the food that you've had at lunch. But it helps you to avoid snacking in the afternoon, right? How many of you love to snack? I do. I used to snack all the time. I don't anymore. Unless I'm at a Super Bowl party or something like that. Okay, I just don't do that. Okay. Now, the last thing, okay, right before your biggest meal of the day, and Roxy's, thank you so much. Okay. Right before your biggest meal of the day, you're going to have this fiber. That's how this works. Folks, this is exactly why I talk about the Feel Great system. It's exactly why I've been using this for over 2 years. and it's why I share it with people. Because when you can keep your levels in a stable, normal range, okay, your body can stay in a healing state. And what's amazing is that you can start to get better from a lot of these things, okay? Now, what I love the most about the Feel Great system, it's about $5 a day, okay? And we spend more than $5 on fast food, on Starbucks coffee, on snacks, on energy drinks. And so if we're skipping just one meal, and if you can't skip a meal, I get it, okay? We can make this still work. But here's why I love talking about this. And here's the best part, is that if you decide to give the Feel Great system a chance, which I hope you will, it comes with a 90-day money-back guarantee. There's no risk. So if you are not convinced in 30 days or 60 days or 90 days that it is working for you, or you haven't been able to improve any of these, you just get a refund. That's it. If you're not convinced that it works, you just get a refund. What I love about this is that it works with your biology and not against it. And the truth is, folks, is that, no joke, 93% of us have what is called insulin resistance. We've got blood sugar problems and high insulin problems. 54% of our country is pre-diabetic or type 2 diabetic. And things aren't necessarily getting better. This isn't about pushing pills, it's about fixing the root cause. It's helping you to get back to clearer thinking, maybe steady energy, better sleep, living pain-free again, right? These are all goals that I would imagine that a lot of people have. The key to all of this is improving how your cells function, especially with insulin resistance. When your insulin receptors, ladies and gentlemen, aren't working properly, it can lead to major health problems. And if we can improve that, you're going to be able to heal your body. Our body is designed to heal itself anyways. Some of us just never give our body the ability to do so. So I want you guys to do something for me. And folks, if you're getting value, if you would put a thumbs up in the chat or put the number 1 in the chat, if you're getting value out of this, if it's making sense, my hope and my prayer is that what I'm sharing with you gives you a little synopsis on what insulin resistance is. Polytalk, thank you, Angelique, Frank. So I want you guys to think of insulin resistance like a fire that is burning out of control in your body, okay? Just like how the smoke signals the symptoms that you have, the fire itself is the root cause, it's insulin resistance. Now, the smoke, if you're still confused, the smoke is the symptoms that you feel, like weight gain, fatigue, skin problems, okay? Most of us are just trying to blow away the smoke, right? We're just treating the symptoms, and far too often that's all we're doing. We're throwing medications at our symptoms, but that doesn't fix the root cause. Now, the big issue here is that most doctors aren't talking about insulin resistance, which happens to be the root cause, okay? Our high blood sugar and our high insulin is what's driving a lot of these things, right? How many of us were told to move more, eat less? Or how many of us were told to have 3 meals a day and a snack 2 to 3 to 4 times throughout the day? The modern diet causes high blood sugar and high insulin. And as we eat, our blood sugar spikes and our insulin spikes. And this is what leads, remember, this is what leads to this and the major damage that's going on inside of our body. It's kind of like a rusty car bumper eating away at the metal, right? Think about what could be going on in our blood vessels, right? Our joints, right? Too much sugar in the brain of a child leads to ADHD. Too much sugar in our teeth is cavities. Too much sugar in your joints, arthritis. I am passionate about this is because my own family struggled with this. I wish, folks, that I knew about this 21 years ago. My brother passed away from something that could have been prevented. My dad passed away on Easter Sunday, 2017. And we have something that can potentially help. And the best part is that if it doesn't, you just get a refund. If you don't get relief from what you are struggling with, you just get your money back. You could have insulin resistance, folks, and never even know it because nobody talks about it. And Roxy's, you're amazing. I appreciate that. So, Angelique, I started using this back in January of 2024. And I'll be honest, I didn't think it was going to work. I thought it was just another gimmick. I didn't think it was going to work. So when I purchased it, I wrote on my calendar, day 87, I'm calling the company. I'm going to cancel. I'm going to get my money back. I'm back to square zero, right? What I didn't realize is how fast it would work. Within a month and a half, I personally had lost 32 pounds. My migraines of 23 years went away. Acid reflux. But folks, I had no idea that all these things were even connected to each other. Had no idea. When I went back to my nephrologist, it was interesting. I went to him 5 months after being on this. He's like, I don't know what you're doing, but keep doing it. The reason why I get on here is because no one in my family was ever taught what insulin resistance was. Nobody talks about it. Some of us have these symptoms, right? Many people experience these, but they just brush this off as just getting older, right? How many of you do the same thing? We're just getting older. But here's the deal, folks. Your body is telling you that something serious is going on. Listen to what your body is telling you, much like you would respond to a flashing check engine light in your car. And Angelique, I cannot wait for you to try the Feel Great system. I can't. Making that purchase is one of the best things that you did this year. If you use it consistently, it won't fail you. Folks, I love talking about this because, and Nitos, why can't doctors tell us this when they see this in patients? Why would any doctor tell you how to fix the root cause? If you fix the root cause, what good are you to that doctor? If you're not going in there to see the doctor, if you're not on medications, I mean, folks, do they make money when we eat or when we don't? Do they make money when you're doing this or when you're not? See, this is real, folks. How many family, if you and I went to our family reunion today, right, Nivos? And Michelle, it is disturbing. If you and I went to our family reunion, how many people are struggling with their health? How many of you know what type 3 diabetes is? Let's talk about some more signs, okay? Belly fat, skin tags. If you've got skin tags, you know that you guys can go to a dermatologist and you can have your skin tags removed, but they'll keep coming back. And Angelique, this acts as a natural one, but absolutely, I would tell you to work with your doctor, but this actually helps to boost your body's own production of that by 70%. How many of you are peeing all the time? How many of you have joint pain or high blood pressure? How many of you are crashing after meals? Better yet, how many of you are tired 30 minutes after eating? How many of you are constantly hungry all the time? That was me. I used to eat a bowl of cereal and ice cream every single night. It was like clockwork. And for whatever reason, back in my 20s and 30s, I couldn't gain weight if I wanted to. I mean, I could, but I could lose it really quick. Now, folks, when my friend introduced this to me back in December of 2023, all I wanted to do was lose weight. That's all I wanted to do was lose the weight. I had no idea that skin tags, brain fog, anxiety, depression, sleep apnea, I had no idea that weight and all those things were all connected to each other, right? Michelle, you've got RA. How many other people are dealing with an autoimmune issue, right? Gut dysbiosis. You've got lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, Hashimoto's, Crohn's disease, right? These are created by elevated amounts of glucose and insulin in our body. Folks, here's two things that you're going to want to know. When insulin is high, your body will always be storing FAT. Okay. I personally call insulin the love handle hormone because it causes your love handles to get a little bit bigger, right? Insulin is a fat storing hormone. It's what it does. Okay. Apple user, this is a natural form of that. Okay. It does the same thing. Okay. But when your insulin is high, your body is literally storing FAT. It is storing energy. When your insulin is low, which we want it to be, this is where your body is literally switching fuel sources, okay? It's keeping your insulin and your glucose low in the normal ranges. When that happens, it helps your body to stay in a healing state. When you're in a healing state, your body can naturally start to repair itself. If I don't know if you're religious or not, but I believe in a God that made our bodies pretty amazing. Our bodies are powerful. Our bodies have the ability to heal itself and repair itself if we give it the opportunity to do so. The problem is most of us are literally eating all day long. It's called the standard American diet, right? You eat breakfast, right? And this is what people have for breakfast, folks, right? This is a bunch of sugar and carbs. It literally will start you on a blood sugar roller coaster first thing in the morning. And then you go to work. And then you have a snack. And then it's lunchtime. And then what do you do when you come back from lunch? You snack some more. And then maybe at 4 o'clock, an hour before you go home for work, go home from work, you're having another snack. Then you go home and you have dinner, and then you have a snack and dessert. And I mean, literally, this is what happens for most of us literally all day long. If you've ever wondered why you're not sleeping through the night, when we eat from the time that we wake up to the time we go to bed, we are literally swimming in insulin. It is called hyperinsulinemia. Here's the crazy part about insulin resistance. Insulin, folks, insulin resistance can develop for years and even decades. It takes 10 to 20 years before it even leads to a diabetes diagnosis. And yet, most of us don't even know that we have it. How many of you feel blindsided by your doctor when your doctor is sitting down and saying, oh my gosh, you've got diabetes or heart disease or kidney disease or these health issues, and all along you feel fine, right? Until you don't. I talk to as many people as I can because I know that 9 out of 10 people have at least one level of insulin resistance. We are seeing a rise in things like childhood obesity, osteoarthritis, dementia, migraines, PCOS, fatty liver disease. You guys realize that before 1980, people that had fatty liver was only seen in alcoholics, and now they've got 3-year-olds that are being diagnosed with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. We know that the majority of people are dealing, and this is just a tiny list, folks. Valerie, right? Let's talk about that. Our modern diet is what causes our constant blood sugar and our insulin spike. It's what drives us to be eating more and more food. Have you guys ever wondered this? Maybe this isn't you that is thinking this, but have you ever wondered why when you go to a restaurant, they bring you chips or bread to start your meal? It's not because they're trying to be nice. They could be the nicest people in the world. That has nothing to do with it. Hey, do this. Hey, what are you doing? I have a cat that's tearing up the carpet right now. The truth is that they bring it out because they know that the moment you devour that bread, especially the bread at Texas Roadhouse, it is so good. I could eat a whole basket myself. I know some of you can too. But the moment you eat that, you literally blow up your blood sugar like a roller coaster. It's doing this. And what happens is 20 or 30 minutes later, it comes crashing down, which either causes you to be tired or hungry. And if you're tired, what do? We seek for caffeine and for energy and sugar, usually in the form of sugar and carbs, right? Why do we have 2-year-olds that are being diagnosed with type 2 diabetes? So many health issues are connected to insulin resistance. And too often, we're just given medications instead of fixing the root cause, right? Now, if any of these sound familiar to you, okay, you're not alone. And needles, we've got 7 and 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds that are utilizing this, okay? Folks, if you're ready for a change and maybe what you've been doing over the last 6 months or year might not be working, what do you have to lose by trying something for 90 days? Because you already know that if you don't get relief, if you're not convinced one bit that it even works for you, you just cancel and get your money back. What I love about this is that you can utilize it. There's a reason why it is listed in the physician's desk reference. It is HSA and FSA approved. It has been studied by more than 50 institutions. Most people just don't know about it. This is why I talk about blood sugar and insulin, right? Here's a few books that I have listed in the TikTok shop as well. These are phenomenal reads if you're a reader. You've got Dr. Mindy Pelz, who wrote Fast Like a Girl. Now, she talks about the healing power of fasting. Fasting is nothing new. Fasting is free, folks. I know some people struggle with fasting, okay? But fasting is one of the most powerful things that you can do that can literally regulate your insulin levels. Fasting is powerful, okay? So what about Dr. Robert Lustig, a metabolical, okay? Now, if you don't know anything about Dr. Robert Lustig, he is a nutrition genius. He is smart. He went to MIT. He's got a medical degree from Cornell. He's got a law degree. He's a childhood endocrinologist, which is just a fancy term for hormone expert. I have a question for you guys. Do you know what the #1 fast food restaurant is in the world? What he said, the #1 fast food restaurant in the world, is going to blow you away. And it's not what you think it is. I know what you guys are thinking. It's either McDonald's or Taco Bell, right? He said that the #1 fast food restaurant in the world is our public schools food system. What are our kids starting with, folks? A bowl of cereal, glass of orange juice. The amount of sugar, by the way, that's in that is about 41 grams of sugar, which is far more sugar than what even adult should have. And here's the truth. The kids today are eating more sugar by the time they turn 8 years old than people did 100 years ago in their entire life. Now, Michelle Scott, I fast anywhere from 18 to 24 hours a day. Now, if you're new to fasting, I encourage people to fast. Start out with 13 to 14 hours. Use your sleep time as part of your fast. And Michelle, there's something special that happens at around 17 hours of fasting, and it's called autophagy. And if you've never heard of autophagy is kind of like buying a house and you're gutting it, you're renovating it. Your body will literally get rid of the old dead cells, okay? And it will use that as your primary source of fuel. Now, folks, if you're getting value, please tap the screen, share this with your loved ones, because the reality is that most people are not going to hear this from the people that we trust the most, right? And these are the men and women wearing these white coats that are hopefully there to help save our lives, right? Here's another book, okay, that I highly recommend. It's called Why We Get Sick by Dr. Benjamin Bickman. He's a professor at BYU. NG, thank you for the follow. He's a leading scientist in the world when it comes to insulin resistance, right? And it's a silent epidemic, okay? Neato snitches. Where are you located? I think you told me. I apologize. I think I accidentally sent an invitation for somebody to hop on this live. I don't even know. I think I accidentally hit it. So if you accidentally get it, just know Sarasota, Florida, or I figured, okay. Yeah, it's 1:00 where you're at. Folks, I want you to understand that when you understand what is driving the health issues that we have today, it's constant elevated blood sugar spikes and insulin spikes. That's what's driving this. And the reason why I use the Feel Great system, and Nitos, have a good night. The reason why I use this is I use this first thing in the morning, right? And I sip on this whenever I'm not eating. And what it does is it just shuts the food noise, okay? It boosts your energy. The brain fog goes away, okay? It's called the Feel Great system for a reason, okay? And this is why these are so cool. Because whenever you're not eating, you can sip on the yellow packet, and it helps to keep your blood sugar and your insulin levels low, okay? It helps to eliminate the food noise, okay? I want you to think of it like a natural Ozempic, okay? This is a healthy replacement for snacks and energy drinks and things like that. I skip breakfast. I eat 1 to 2 meals a day. And then right before my biggest meal, okay, I have this fiber that was created by Rexall. And it helps to prevent blood sugar and insulin from spiking so that we can stay in that healthy range. And when we stay in that healthy range, right, what it does, it leads to this FAT burning and relief. And when you get relief, folks, right, these are what we call Band-Aid approaches, okay? Some of you, we know, are on some of these, okay? That fiber happens to be a natural form of this. The tea that I'm talking about, the yellow packet, happens to be a natural form of that and that. This is what people are utilizing. It's important to understand what insulin resistance is, because when you understand what it is, we can start to improve things, right? It's what it's all about. We've got to be able to connect the dots. And this is why, again, I talk to as many people as I possibly can. We have a lot of medical doctors, okay, that are starting to talk about this. She's an endocrinologist, amazing doctor, okay. We've got a lot of medical professionals. And, you know, this doctor, Dr. Harper, says sometimes us doctors are a little skeptical, but he decided to try it. And he said it's made a real difference in my life. His insulin level, it was 6 or 7, and now his insulin went down to a 2. Okay. It is very simple. This is how you use this, folks. When you take this yellow packet and you're sipping it the moment you wake up in the morning, it is keeping your body in this phase, right? Your body is getting rid of your stored FAT, okay? And it just keeps these levels in normal ranges. When you get to lunch, you're going to eat lunch, okay? You're just going to eat lunch as normal, and then right after your lunch, you're going to have the second tea, and then right before your biggest meal, you're going to take a fiber. This is exactly not only why I use, but why I teach. This is very personal for me, okay? Because I have family members that struggled with their metabolic health. Nobody in my family was diabetic. I alone struggled with stage 4 kidney disease. I have a twin sister who has had some major health issues. All we've got to do, folks, is throw a pebble down the street and you're going to run into 10 people that have these issues. The scary part about all of this is that most people don't even know that they have it. because it is rarely tested for. But it happens to be a major driver of heart disease, which happens to be the leading cause of death. And Michelle, I don't know if you're using this, but I hope that you'll consider using it. Folks, if you're on the fence, don't be. 90-day money back guarantee. If you're not convinced it works and you're getting zero relief, all you do is you just get your money back. I have never come across something that has that. You know, I used to be a pharmaceutical rep, and I remember going into the Mayo Clinic here in Arizona and other facilities, and I just remember, I'm like, oh my gosh, nobody ever really talked about this. Okay, they didn't. Far too often we just treat the symptoms, right? It's become what we're good at. We treat the symptoms, but we never help somebody to understand what we can do to actually improve it. And at the end of the day, folks, our bodies have the ability to improve itself and heal itself. The problem is that we just don't give ourselves the ability to do so. We help people improve their health, and we do it with this, right? And people can just try it. We know that 9 out of 10 people are struggling with one or more of these problems. Cravings, belly fat, inflammation are some of the most common, right? My question to you is, as you look at this list, which of these resonate most with you? And if you wouldn't mind looking at this and typing it in the chat, type one word of what your struggle is. Okay, if you wouldn't mind taking a minute or two and put that in the chat. I'm always curious about what people might be struggling with. Anybody? Okay, focus. Honey Money Mama, I like your handle. Okay, Brains Nana, weight. Okay, that is actually very common. Okay, it was high blood pressure for Polytalk. How many of you have high cholesterol? What does your doctor try and get you to get on? And maybe some of you are already on it if you've got high cholesterol. It blows me away that doctors consistently are trying to prescribe something that starts with an S and ends in N. And this happens to be just as effective, right? So we've got weight issues, right? And Michelle, that's good. Okay. My doctor is telling me to become a vegan. Okay. Tell me more about that. I'm curious as to why a doctor would be telling somebody to become vegan, right? Here's what I can tell you about food. Okay. We all love food. It's kind of hard not to, right? And by the way, Arena, this is Health Canada approved. Canada happens to be one of the hardest countries to get in, and this is Health Canada approved. Okay. So I love that. Folks, I had no clue what insulin resistance was. But when I was diagnosed with stage 4 kidney disease, that was my wake-up call. There's a lot of health issues that people struggle with that are very, very common. You know, I struggled with weight. That was, you know, when my nephrologist said, hey, you need to lose some weight, that was what I was trying to do. Okay. And when you get your insulin under control, folks, everything starts to change, which is why I teach fasting. Because when you go longer periods of time without food, what you're doing is you're avoiding glucose spikes. You're avoiding insulin spikes. It keeps your insulin and your blood sugar level, right? We want to keep this in this range and not here, because this is what's leading to damage. When we have this is when your body can start repairing that damage, okay? But we've got to give our insulin a chance, or our body a break, especially from insulin, right? And Amy, Okay, sorry we lost your space for a few minutes, so sorry about that, Arena. I love talking about this. I wish that I knew about this 20 years ago, or even 10 years ago, because he would still be here. This is my dad. Well, erectile dysfunction and PCOS, right? Those are leading causes of infertility for men and women, right? And Michelle Scott, you're very welcome. Okay, Michelle, where are you located? I think you probably already put that in the chat, but there's a lot of people that put a lot of stuff. Right? This is my dad. I miss him. You know, our CEO, Michelle, of our company is a rancher in Wyoming. Folks, you know, here's another thing that I don't often share on this live, but 90% of the revenue of this company comes from customers. That should tell you something. Our company literally has zero debt. That's something to be proud of. When I think about this and how many people are affected by this, okay, and this is why, right? This is what's leading to these health issues, right? The problem, folks, is that, you know, when we think about these, you know, health issues, right? Think about this, okay? When we have these health struggles that we have, okay, insulin resistance is literally behind anything from brain fog to fatigue, nerve pain, stubborn weight. And if that happens to go left unchecked, it turns into diabetes, then into neuropathy. It's nerve damage that can literally start leaving you in pain, like excruciating pain, unable to walk, even leads to amputations. But when we think of insulin resistance, what most people don't realize is that not only can you prevent it, but you can improve it. You can become insulin sensitive again. How do we do that? Now, somebody asked, you know, how many hours do I fast? And Amanda Faye, thank you for the follow. Peace in the world, thank you for the follow. Okay. How many hours do you recommend for fasting? I encourage people to change it up, but I fast anywhere from 18 to 24 hours. I literally eat 1 to 2 meals a day, and that is it. Our body really doesn't need the 3 meals a day and the snacking throughout the day. This is one of the reasons why we're tired all the time. We're craving food all the time. This is why, right? Our blood pressure and our cholesterol is through the roof. It leads to gut dysbiosis. It leads to the autoimmune issues, right? Not just the skin issues, but, you know, rheumatoid arthritis and lupus and all these things that, again, far too many people have. Folks, give yourself 90 days. I think that if you are willing to give yourself 90 days, I think you'll be unrecognizable. I think you will start to learn more about our body, why our body react the way that it does. Here's the thing, folks, it's listed here in the TikTok shop, right? I would encourage each and every one of you that is struggling with your health. Let me ask you this question, folks. If this is something that could give you some relief, would it be worth trying for 90 days? Knowing that if it doesn't work, if you get no relief, if you're not convinced at all, you just get your money back. Michelle, I would love to work with you. The flavor that I recommend, right, is natural lemon and mixed berry, which is the first one that's here in the TikTok shop. Juan Carlos Diaz, thank you for the follow. 90-day money back guarantee, folks. You can use your HSA and your FSA if you have that. The real Angela, thank you. And Catherine, let me know if you have any questions. Okay. I love getting on here, folks. I really do. I love the impact that this is making in people's lives, right? I I wish again that somebody would have shared this with my family. Brains Nana. So when you're ordering it, okay, I encourage everybody to do the subscription, but you can cancel it tomorrow. Okay. You don't have to use this forever, but what I do encourage is give yourself 90 days to try it. Give yourself 90 days. And by the way, when you order, you will be connected to me. I will be the one that will be coaching you and helping you through. I will be helping you to understand exactly how to use it. I will be texting you once you order it, or we can jump on a call, but I literally walk everybody on how to use it. Folks, if you're skipping just one meal, here's how this works. Okay. When we have this first thing in the morning, okay, it saves us about $5 to $10. I mean, you can't really even buy a meal for $5 or $10. I mean, you can, but it's not the healthiest, right? So when you're skipping breakfast or a meal, you're saving that $5 to $10. When we're avoiding snacking throughout the day, we're saving another 2 to 5, or depending on what you spend per day on snacks, you're saving that and you're investing it back in your health. Don't wait to fix your health. The reality is that not only does insulin resistance increase our risk and chances for these things, but it literally shortens our lifespan. Okay. Insulin resistance is a big deal because it affects so many of us. And there's so many people that have it that don't even know that they have it. That's the scary part. Okay. Helping somebody understand what's causing all of this, that's easy, right? Helping somebody to get here, okay? This is why I love this system, because if somebody decides to try this and if they're consistent, they're going to have this, okay? And if they're not convinced whatsoever that it works, then you just get your money back. But when we think about this fire that's burning out of control in our body, okay, what you do is we focus on putting the fire out. Folks, what if instead of chasing the symptoms, which is what all of us are doing, what if instead of chasing the symptoms, we're tackling the root cause? What would that mean for you? What would it mean like to wake up and have energy again? What would it mean to be able to sleep 7 or 8 hours through the night and wake up and not feel like you got hit by a truck, right? That you really feel like you slept and you have the energies. Patricia, really appreciate you hopping on. Folks, for those of you that aren't following Tasha Love 88, please do. Okay. And Michelle, you're absolutely right. Nobody wants to talk about it. Folks, let me ask you a question. How many of you have ever gone skydiving? Maybe this is a bad analogy because not everybody likes to go skydiving, but I think you understand the principle behind this analogy. 93% of people have insulin resistance. So let's say that you love skydiving, okay? If you knew that 9 out of 10 times that parachute wouldn't open, how many of you would ever get on that airplane? If you wouldn't mind, put your answer in the chat. Michelle says none. I would never get on an airplane if I knew that the parachute wouldn't open up 9 out of 10 times. I wouldn't even get on that plane knowing that it would open up 9 out of 10 times. I want to know that that's going to open up all the time. Folks, why do we continue to treat the symptoms of insulin resistance with meds when that never fixes the root cause? You guys understand what we're doing to our bodies? And Federline, thank you for the follow. Honey Mom, Money Mama, love that. Michelle says, hell no. Okay. Folks, think about this. I always like to share this, right? We have a lot of doctors, by the way, that are starting to talk about this. Why? Because it works. Because it works. And here's the other thing. okay, if a doctor had 100 patients that learned what insulin resistance is and started to learn how to improve their health and, potentially were able to get off their meds and things like that, that doctor would have 100 patients that they wouldn't need the doctor anymore. Folks, I am living proof. I had stage 4 kidney disease. I'm so grateful that my friend cared enough about me to share this with me. I wish that it was enough to bring back my dad. And better yet, here's another friend. Okay. This picture was taken April of last year, Easter Sunday last year. This is my buddy. Okay. He married his wife who had 6 beautiful daughters, right? Her husband unfortunately passed away. He married her and they were married for a couple years. This was taken Easter Sunday last year. And he passed away April 25th. I wish that I could have known. I know that if I do my part, I know that if I get on here every single day, I know for a fact that this is going to touch somebody's life. Somebody's going to change their health. If what I shared with you resonates with you, if it sounds like what you are looking for and praying for, you don't have to wait to fix your health. I'm talking to as many people, ladies and gentlemen, as I possibly can about blood sugar issues and insulin issues because this is through the roof. 54% of our country has type 2 diabetes or prediabetes. The majority of people have it, and they, these multiple health issues, and most of us don't even know that we have it. And those that have it, right, we're just treating it with meds, right? Thinking that, we're doing our part, we're helping ourselves to get better. We've got insurance that pays for our meds. We're okay. It's managing our symptoms. We're very okay with that. Folks, I'm not looking to help manage at all. Thank you, Michelle. If this resonates with you, okay, don't wait. If you would like to get started, folks, the best part about the Feel Great system and having it here in the shop is that if you are not convinced at the end of 30 days or 90 days that this is working, if you don't feel relief from something that you might, right? Somebody posted weight and energy and fatigue, right? If you get no relief from that, guess what? You just get your money back. What if over the next 90 days, your energy comes back, the brain fog goes away? Okay, Michelle Scott, thank you so much. Tammy Cobb, let me know if you have any questions. Okay, I know that there's a lot of people that are looking at this. What questions do you guys have? Because I just want to make sure that I'm helping to answer the question in the best way that I possibly can. And Michelle, I followed you right back. Any other questions, folks? So Brains Nana, okay? So here's what's going to happen. Okay, when you get your box, okay, when you get it, okay, it's going to come with 2 of these boxes. Okay, this is the tea. This is the tea, right? You're getting 2 of these. There's 30 sachets in each box. Okay, so you're going to get 60 teas and 30 fibers. Okay, you're going to get a diamond bottle, and if you do the subscription, it's going to come with a hand mixer. Honey Mama, yes, it helps with autoimmune issues like Hashimoto's, lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, things like that. This is how you use it, Brains Nana. When you wake up in the morning, okay, your insulin and your blood sugar is low. Okay, and in some cases, your blood sugar might be a little high, right? It's called the dawn phenomenon, right? Your body needs energy. That's normal. Okay. But what we do is we sip on this Unimate, which is the yerba mate. Okay. It's chlorogenic tea. And you just sip on this whenever you're not eating. Okay. You just sip on it like I am here whenever you're not eating. Okay. And it shuts the food noise off. It keeps your blood sugar, your insulin within normal ranges. Okay. It keeps your body in a healing state so that your body can start repairing itself. Okay. When you get to lunchtime, you're just going to eat lunch as normal. Okay. And yes, you might get a little spike based on the foods, but because you've had this prior and after, it's going to help diminish and blunt the glucose spike and the insulin spike. Okay. And then, of course, right before the biggest meal of the day, which for most people happens to be dinner or lunch, all you do is you mix this and you chug it down. Okay, brains nada, because if you let it sit, it's going to get thick. So you just mix it, shake it up in a bottle, you drink it as fast as you can. And then what it'll do is it'll expand and line your gut. It's kind of like a superhero spreading her wings, right? It's like putting on a protective coat. It's protecting you. Okay. That's what it does. Okay. And it helps to slow down your digestion. It slows the absorption of the sugar and the carbs from the foods that you eat. It's that simple. Okay. And again, it's very satiating. Okay. It's very, again, I mean, the biggest thing is it's slowing down the absorption. But this is why I talk about the Feel Great system, because it's helping to improve health in crazy ways. This happens to be a blend of 7 soluble and insoluble fibers, right? It was created by Rexall. Some of you might actually remember Rexall. Okay. This was a drugstore that created in 1903. Okay. And the scientists and doctors of Rexall drugs created this back in the late 80s, early 90s, for 2 reasons. One, they wanted to put fiber back in our food. Okay? If anybody understands the food industry, our food industry has taken fiber out of our food. They wanted to put it back in. Okay? But they also wanted to eradicate heart disease naturally. Heart disease, folks, is the leading cause of death worldwide. We've got more than 1 billion people that are on this right here. Okay? More than 1 billion people are on this. Folks, if those work so well, why is heart disease still the leading cause of death? Folks, are we building more hospitals or less? Are we building more dialysis centers or fewer dialysis centers? What I love about this one, Michelle, is that it's the only clinically proven natural alternative to statins. And by the way, these are listed in the PDR. When the doctors and scientists of Rexall created it, they said it was going to change the world. And I truly believe that that's what it's doing. And one of the reasons why I get on here every single day is because I know that if I'm not opening my mouth and sharing this to people, people aren't going to realize that there's something that is helping to improve insulin sensitivity. And people can try it risk-free and get their money back if it doesn't work. Folks, it'll be one of the best purchases I think you make. Okay. What question? I just want to make sure that I've got just a few more minutes. I really do appreciate everybody who's been tapping the screen. Okay. Tremaine Brady, I love it. What part of Phoenix? So I'm here in Mesa, Arizona. And Tremaine, I have it pinned right here. Okay. And by the way, when you order this, Tremaine, okay, is it Tremaine or Brady? I just want to make sure. Okay. But when you purchase it, you will be connected to me. Okay. You'll actually get a message from me tomorrow that's going to outline exactly how to utilize this, because I want to make sure, obviously, that people know, number one, how to start this, how to use it, how, so I will share all of that with you. Okay. So Andrea, How do you use it if you're type 2? Okay. You just sip on the yellow packet first thing in the morning. Okay. Okay, I know where Pinnacle Vista is. Okay. You just sip on the yellow packet in the morning. Okay. You sip on the second one after lunch. And then the fiber is what you would take right before your biggest meal of the day. And again, for most people, that's, lunch or dinner. Okay. And Tremaine, if you do order here in the TikTok shop, you'll get a message from me literally tomorrow. If you want to jump on a call too, just to clarify and help to understand how to use it, I can do that. I can do that with anybody. Okay, I'm happy to do that. Andrea Sawyer and Hanny, thank you for the follow. And let me know, Tremaine, if you are going to order, and I'll look for that. Make sure that I get you that information. Andrea, let me know if you have any questions, okay? And Amanda and Tremaine, let me know what would you be using this for, okay? Is there any specific health concerns that you have that you are wanting to work on? Just curious what you would be using it for. Okay, you have type 2 or type 1? And how long have you had diabetes, and what have you been doing to manage your diabetes? Okay. And Andrea, feel free to connect with me. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions you have. Feel free to DM me here in TikTok. Okay. You know what's amazing about this is there are type 1 diabetics. Okay. We have a lot of type 2 that have been able to improve it and reverse it, but there's a lot of type 1s that are actually improving it. And that's the thing, folks, when you start to get insulin under control, right? When you start to get this, okay, you're going to notice amazing changes, right? In your energy, the brain fog, how your body's functioning, how your body is healing. I mean, it's amazing when you start to get your insulin under control, because it literally takes it manages everything, right? And here's what I'm sipping on, Tremaine, is what you're taking, okay, in a natural form. James, Funny Educational, thank you for the follow. And what I love about this is there's no side effects. There's no contraindications, folks. Even if you're on a bunch of meds, okay, you work with your doctor, okay? But this is plants and food. It is safe to take even with your meds, okay? Let's see here. And Dober 0046, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. And Tremaine, are you serious about ordering it? I just want to make sure that I can help you where you need it. Hi, Charlie. Say no to fufu. Some of these. Thank you for the follow. I have the balance in the orange flavor. I haven't tried the other because I'm sensitive to caffeine. You know what, Amanda? I have a lot of people that are even sensitive to caffeine, and they are addicted to this. They love this tea. Okay, it's got it's a natural caffeine, and it's a very slow activating caffeine. Okay, you're sipping it over a period of time. Okay, and so even people that I know have the biggest sensitivity, right? They get the jitters. They don't get that with this, and they love this. But here's what I would tell you: if you have it, try it. Okay. If it just doesn't work for you, just if you just recently purchased it, you can get your money back. Okay.